Welcome. This is not going to make a lot of air. Welcome to day number 4. So today, there isn't a lot of things that I have on my to-do list because I'm going to college, and typically when I go to college, I don't get to knock out a lot of tasks because I waste a lot of time in college, and even in transportation alone on the way to college and on the way back from college, I waste 2 hours on the way there and 2 hours on the way here. So this is going to be another day to be wasted in college. For those of you who don't know, I study Spanish literature in college. Not very important information, but I just wanted to throw it anyway. I've got a couple of things that were like hovering at the top of my head that I wanted to talk about, like perseverance and stuff. But I guess I'm not going to be talking about those for now. I will be more intentional when I talk about these things because I think they are quite important. Like people people would tell you to just when you want to do something, you have to bite the bullet and you have to be perseverant and you have to be disciplined and stuff. And they don't talk about the time when you need to quit doing something. I mean, like you have those times when you're like growing at something, but then you kind of plateau and you can't go farther. So at that point, do you quit? Do you continue persevering, knowing that it's just going to be a continuous plateau? It's just going to be an infinite plateau, and you're not going to be able to grow beyond that. That is quite random, but I'm going to be talking about that later, I guess. But for now, just because I am obligated to make this video as part of my discipline, I'm going to be making this video and uploading it anyway. But for future videos, I get maybe I'm gonna be talking about that tomorrow. So I'm gonna be up. Maybe I'm just saying maybe it that maybe is not gonna cost me anything. Having that intention lingering at the back of my head or lodging at the back of my head isn't gonna harm me. So the plan for today is I'm gonna walk you through what I did since I woke up. Typically, as usual, I say the word typically quite a lot. Making these videos is an eye opening. Like, these videos are like eye opening because I get to notice my speech patterns. Like how many times I say the word typically per second, and how many times I say the word like every single video. If I count how many times I said the word like throughout this video so far, it would probably something between 2 or 3 times at least. It has become some kind of a subconscious some kind of a subconscious processy, like background. You do know those things like on your desktop when you're having these background processes. I'm having that right now. Like, literally, I just said like. That's crazy. So I guess I'm going to be talking about fillers in this video. Out of nowhere, I didn't plan to talk about fillers, but I'm gonna talk about fillers because I guess every single person has their own filler words. For example, I use the word like literally, typically, quite frequently. Like I literally use them every single second and in every single sentence. You're not gonna find a single sentence that I speak except that it has the word like or the word literally or the word typically, and like as part of their structure. I'm trying to eliminate that. I'm trying to be more conscious about that because I also part of one of the objectives for me creating these videos is becoming more eloquent and fluent, right? But overly using filler words isn't gonna serve me well in this pursuit. So I wanna pursue eloquence because you know when you use big words and how you sound educated for the people that the interlocutors that are listening. I know that that's a big word, in interlocutor, and I never heard anybody using this one. So never use it. Just look it up and know what it means, but never use it in a conversations in your conversations because people are going to be giving you the jaw drop. The people are going to be jaw dropped and they don't understand what interlocutor is, so don't use it. I learned it because it's used in Spanish. Now I study Spanish literature, so Spanish and English are quite intertwined, because they have the same roots and they have a lot of overlapping vocabulary. So when a word exists in Spanish, most probably it's gonna have some similar equivalent in English, like the word interlocutor, for example. In Spanish, they say interlocutor, I guess. I can't remember the pronunciation, but it was somewhat like interlocutor. You know how easy it is to learn Spanish if you know English, or vice versa. If you know Spanish and you want to learn English. And something that I didn't understand up until this point is how some Spaniards or how some Latinos or Latinas find it difficult to learn English. Maybe pronunciation wise, it's quite difficult for them, as it is to learn pronunciation for Arabs or Egyptians like me. But for the vocabulary, when they tell you that they don't have a lot of vocabulary, bro, like literally, if they learn the cognate rules, they have learned a ton of vocabulary already. Like if I know that most words that end with tion in English are gonna convert to cion in Spanish, that has I have just learned a ton and a ton and a ton of vocabulary in a fraction of a second. For example, I now know terminación, I now know conversación, I now know what else ends with a shan. Um, mm, mm, Población, like population. You can say habitación, habitation. Those are big words in English, but in a fraction of a second, like the words that took you years to learn in English, you can learn. You can literally learn them and master them in the fraction of a second. They are not going to take you so much or so long to learn. It's the crazy of knowing is the crazy of multilingualism, or even just like the how languages juncture together and root back to one common ancestor. That's kind of crazy. I like languages. Anyways, back to filler words. So if you want to be more eloquent, you have to eliminate the use of filler words, and this is not going to be an easy process, because they have been engraved so deeply and so firmly inside your brain, and you use them subconsciously. And what is you have basically the two types of brain, the subconscious, on the subconscious level, and the conscious level. And what you have running in the background processes, what I call background processes, is the subconscious brain. And these are far stronger. Like when you have Windows running at the background, if you don't have Windows running at the background, the whole system collapses and the whole system crashes, right? This is some kind of a weird analogy, but it serves well. It's a good analogy. It's weird, but it's good. You know what I mean? So if you don't have that background processes running at the background, you are not going to be able to breathe, because you will have to be consciously focusing to breathe. But thank God that is running as a background process, right? You don't have to focus to be able to breathe. You don't have to focus to walk. You don't have to focus. Once you have mastered this skill at the beginning of your life, even some of these skills have been mastered already once you got out of the womb of your mom, right? Once you were born, once you was how to say once you were given birth, these things have been already engraved. Things like this is gonna sound disgusting, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Things like peeing and pooping, like you don't have to consciously think about those. Maybe um no, that's a bad analogy. That's a wrong analogy. You have to be conscious about these things. Otherwise, you're going to be you will have unconscious urinary and unconscious pooping. So you don't want to have those. Let's have a better analogy. Something like breathing. I'm gonna stick back to the analogy of breathing. You basically breathe without even thinking, and if you had to think about it, probably you would have been dead by now. Anyways, we're gonna hit the 10-minute mark, And just to wrap up this video, if you wanna be more eloquent, you have to pay conscious attention to the filler words that you use, and you have to eliminate those words. And I guess it's 6 something now, and I have to go to college. I have to set off to college. It's 6:30, and my first lecture, as I was told, starts at 8:30. So I have to set off now, because it takes me 2 hours to go to college. As I said, like 4 hours wasted only in the transportation. And up until now, I didn't revise my Quranic thingy. So I'm going to be doing that in the transportation. And also for the biblical portion that I'm supposed to read, I'm supposed to finish the book of Matthew today. So I am going to be doing that in uni if I have time. But if I didn't, I'm gonna try to do that on the way back from uni. But if I didn't, I'm gonna do that when I get back home. So that was it for today's episode. Why did I say episode? That was it for today's video, guys. We're not a we're not a series that consists of episodes. We're just a random ramble on the internet. Peace.